Hello, today is May 1st, uh, 2025. It's good to see you again. I'm going to call this Unequivocal Malice Part 13. Actually, these things drift all around. I'm the writer of this. It's approximately 280, 300 pages. It published iUniverse.com 2004 December, and it's available on the internet, traditional places, barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com. And then approximately 10 years later, January of 2015, I self-published this, After Dark, both of them mystery suspense plots. This one's at booklocker.com, but the same deal, the regular Books A Million and stuff on the internet. This one, After Dark, can be downloaded in Kindle for only $1 or $2 or $3 to read it. And Unequivocal Malice is only available in paperback, and you may have seen them at libraries. I did get them into, I really don't know how many, several dozen or several hundred libraries in various places in China, where I've taught English, and also in the Midwest, where I've lived mostly in Wisconsin. All right, so I'm going to call this Part 13. I do these off the top of my head, so I hope you'll bear with me. I don't have any written notes or cue cards or anything. I'm going to do this a little about the author, which is myself, Michael Kujawski. That's what I looked like 20 years ago. And whoops, here is a little more what I looked like about 10 years ago. So when you can look this stuff up on the internet, you can go like, I know I repeat this all the time, you can go like Michael Kujawski, Google search, and you can say China and stuff comes up, or ESL teaching, or you can say After Dark or Unequivocal Malice. You can say teacher or sports writer, journalism, and things come up. So I do get asked certain questions, and I jump all around. I guess I'll go to this one. This is a frequently asked question. I happen to be in my Forte right now. You can see the make and model Kia Forte. And people ask me this all the time, about every week. As you can see here, somebody slammed into the back of it, and it was seriously damaged. So one question I get asked pretty often is, do you need help? Did that just happen recently? That took place on October 2nd, and it was not a hit and run. The driver stopped for half an hour. The other driver, he complained that he had to get back to his family. He slammed into the back of my car. As I was set to make the next right turn, I was stopped in a right turn lane, and he slammed into the back. The accident was his fault. He claimed at the scene that he had insurance, and unfortunately, when I checked the two companies that he had insurance with, Allstate and Direct General, it turned out his policies had lapsed and expired in the past, so he didn't have any liability insurance. So that's the reason the car is in bad shape. I did report him to the insurance companies. I did, in several hours, contact local police. As you know, police agencies nowadays, some of them close and go home at 5 o'clock, whereas they used to be 24 hours. Usually sheriff's departments are probably 24 hours, and maybe there's other branches of the government. So that's one question I get asked. Another question I frequently get asked is, it says here I work in China and stuff like that. That was actually mostly from 2009 until primarily 2016. I was mostly in China. I've lived in China over 5 years, where my girlfriend lives there, and so I've obviously taught English. I started off in South Korea for 8 months in 2009, and by the time it got to be 2016, I'd been living mostly over in China. So what else did I want to go over? Again, not having cue cards and stuff, I lose track here a little bit, but these are some of the questions people ask me about these books, about that car crashing back, about living in China. Of course, nowadays you can look this stuff up on the internet, but you can also talk to people live. And so I myself have previously been a sports editor and wire editor, and unfortunately, much of my career was pre-internet in the 1980s, and was at smaller publications, smaller newspapers. Well, having said that, now as usual, without written notes, I forgot some other things I was going to answer for you that people asked me. Another question might come up: how many pages is After Dark? It ends on page 394. How does it end? She looked at Mark, who seemed so young and vigorous. This is boyfriend and girlfriend. I believe they're engaged in here. She was satisfied just to be there with him, and they were passionate about staying together. We're sound, strong, he said. We've got the future in front of us. I can't wait for tomorrow, Adrian said. I think we'll make it together better than ever. So that's how After Dark ended when I put that one out in January of 2015, upon urging from a voice in outer space as I was teaching English at the Yaohao School in Shenzhen, China, Yaohao Experimental School, which is primarily a high school, but I also taught some of the middle school there. And as I mentioned, that's where my friends live, in Shenzhen, China, right on the border of Hong Kong. Let me take a look at this other one here, Unequivocal Malice, 2004. That's what I look like on a motel balcony in Florida, where I have relatives. And so how did this one end? This one, let's see. I have an epilogue in this one, and I label the chapters more as in the past, in the 1970s and 80s, back in the day. This one here, for part 13, how did it end? Smiling down the sidewalk to Weaver's office, gazing at the modern restaurants, gas stations, and banks that had sprung up over the years, they both agreed the community had undergone noticeable improvements. These are two other characters. Smile when you take that medication, Dawson said. I don't remember who Dawson was, if he worked at a drugstore, or I don't remember exactly. Morehouse said. Morehouse was someone like myself. That character reminds me of me. He's someone who had a checkered past. He had been in prison in the past. Another question, I don't have a criminal record or a jail or prison record. Anyway, Morehouse had been in prison. He'd made mistakes gambling and owing money to loan sharks. And so when he got out, he went out to the countryside to get away from it all, because he grew up in New York City. And he helped the sheriff's department solve the murder case that they're working on in this one, Unequivocal Malice. And he overcame his checkered past and criminal record, and was a successful owner of a country resort or rural resort, hotel, restaurant complex, golf course, that kind of thing. So this one ends about 100 pages earlier than that one. This one was 290 something or something like that. These things have barcodes in them, and they mention the publishing company, the original publishers. And I don't know, I had an artist, people might ask, who is that on the cover, of something you're calling fiction? Why is there a person's photograph on it? That's what the artists, for whatever I hired them and paid them, that's what they came up with. There's some artwork there which shows a rural portion of the novel, the community. That's probably the sheriff. He's probably a middle-aged person. And I see they used a photograph, or looks like a photograph, rather than an artist drawing. Here in After Dark, we just had some pine needles there. I like the colors on those. So now, being an airhead, I've forgotten other points I was going to make. I'll have to get to them later.